Hey guys, hey, continuing on with these clarification videos, the last point that we left off was, with the project for video, we were creating some pages and doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But this video is meant to be focused on simply adding those pages that are working and have been created on the back end of the WordPress backend and the theme backend. We've got those guys communicating. We've tested that they're working by plugging in those URLs. And remember, we can do that. We go to the original location where we created those pages. Remember, we created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We created 5 pages. If we click on one of those pages, you'll see that there's no content here. And that's good. We don't want any content there. We do need a really good page title for the purpose of this video. I'm just using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we want to confirm that it's working with the chosen theme layout. And we can do that by clicking on the URL here and then clicking on it again. And we can see, yes, indeed, the right sidebar layout is working just fine. Okay. And this should all look familiar too from Web Design 1. There's an H2 and H3 and some paragraph text and some links. So all that should be your bread and butter at this point for modifying and changing. We're not quite there yet. The only purpose of this video is to confirm that the pages are working. And then following that, we want to add them to the menu. Because right now, the only way to access or look at these pages in order to review them is through these URLs, or through the browser rather, okay? But for example, we cannot go, if we look anywhere up here in the menu, we won't be able to find those pages. Why? Because they have not been added yet. We're going to be doing that in this video. It's a very simple process. I also want to remind you guys that there's sort of a tried and true method for an art design website. So if you're a visual artist, you're going to need a page for kind of comprehensive work that you've been up to. It just so happens that this theme kind of gave you that page, which is currently titled Portfolio, right? That's a place where you can kind of give the user a general sense of what you've been up to or what you're doing. And then below, or as a child of that page item, you can start adding the additional pages that we're talking about. For example, here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where you have pages for specific projects. So let's do a little bit of let's kind of move things around a little bit. The way that we do that, I'm trying to kind of, I want to pause and make sure that I'm giving you guys a direct path to doing this. First, before you modify anything with your menu, you need to be certain that your pages are working. So again, go to your pages location on the WordPress backend, hit date, click one of the pages that you have created, click on the URL and make it live in the browser. It's pretty good to me. So yes, these pages are working just fine. The only problem is that we cannot access them from the primary menu. That's a real shame. We're going to change that right now. First, let's go back and kind of rearrange things. On the project PDF that I've given you, I gave you a sample web architecture layout. Let's make a few changes, okay? Firstly, if you do want to modify your menu, you go to Appearance and then simply Menus. And look, all this stuff is here right now. I'm just not convinced that we need a lot of this stuff, so I'm going to start deleting it. And remember, as I've stated earlier in a video, if you haven't seen me do something in one of these videos, I would not advise that you do it. Don't go all cowboy on me or cowgirl. Only do things that you see me doing. Right now, I am about to delete some things, so it is okay to delete things that you don't need. So be very mindful. Obviously, if you delete the home page, you're in a whole mess of trouble. Do not do that, please. All this feature stuff and all this business, We don't need any of that because these are not important pages for our mission. So simply click this little drop down and you can click remove. Drop down, remove. Drop down, remove. Drop down, remove, etc., etc., etc. And then we're eventually going to want to even just get rid of this. Although, you know what, I want to keep this. I'll tell you why. I have a reason why. This is a custom link, so I can plug in any URL I want as indicated by this generic pound sign, but instead I'm going to call it contact. Okay. All right, so now that one is called contact. Now, I'm going to create my own about page, but in the meantime, I'm going to keep this. For a visual art portfolio page, I do not need the pricing. I'm going to remove. I do not need the blog. And guys, you may have heard it in my voice. I have a thing against blogs because it's not 1998 anymore. Social media and like Facebook feeds have kind of taken over all that stuff. Although there is good reason to have a blog, and that's for SEO reasons. And so that's a whole nother class, a whole nother layer of advanced thinking with website development. But for the purpose of this class, I mean, most students in this class, they simply want to be able to send a portfolio link to like a gallery curator or a hiring manager. You're not necessarily trying to drive traffic to your website at this point. And that's the only circumstance I can think of where I might keep a blog. But even so, that's just not the way I do things. So again, it's personal preference. So I'm going to remove that. I've created my own simple contact page because I want to connect to my own social media. So I'm actually going to remove that too. Yeah, a lot of this stuff I just don't feel like I need, guys. So I'm getting rid of it. All right. I do need this portfolio, but I don't want it to be a sub item. I want it to be a primary item. So I'm just going to simply drag it up. Simple as that. Okay. And I'm going to also take the about and put it up here, but I want to call it just about. Just kind of keep things simple, right? And I also want to call, instead of calling this portfolio, I'm going to call this work. So the contact link should actually be here. We don't have any more pages, so we can get rid of this. And all of these layouts can be deleted because those are just simply showing you how they might look. You can actually still access these live by going to RocketTheme. I think it's .com or .org. I can't remember which. If you navigate to the theme and you demo the theme, you'll be able to see these live on the RocketTheme website. And so, in my opinion, you don't need these anymore. You can make this menu more yours, right? Okay. Okay, so what do we got? I'm going to delete layouts. We don't need that. I don't need the styles. It's not. So this is our website. We have a home page. Don't delete that. Do not delete that. We have a work page, which is the default portfolio page. That's a real nice one. Definitely keep that. I'm going to keep the generic about us page for the time being, although if you wanted to, you could create your own about page. I think in another video, I actually did do that because I just like to keep mine simple, especially as an artist. I just like to have, you know, like a bio statement, an artist statement, and then a research statement. And then below that, I like to have a CV or a curriculum vitae. So anyway, I'm going to keep for this tutorial video, I'm going to keep the default page though, okay? It comes prepackaged with the template. It's usually called about us, but I just remodified it, the language, and I'm just going to call it about because I like to keep things simple. And then I have added a custom link page that I'm going to direct to Facebook so I can avoid spam, okay? And that's a custom link as indicated by this pound sign. Okay, so before we start adding pages to this, I'm going to hit Save Menu. And then I'm going to come over here. I'm gonna refresh. And look how beautiful and simple this is now. Home, work, about, contact. Boom. All right. Real nice and beautiful. That was such an easy change, right? Now, I've created 5 pages, and I have confirmed that those pages are indeed working. Next thing I want to do is I want to make those pages children of the work page. How do I do that? Let's just add them to the menu. It's relatively intuitive. And look, the pages that are available to add are over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Add to menu. They're not in the right place though, are they? 1, 2. Notice how they're just kind of nudged over. 3, 4. These 5 pages are now sub items of the work page. That was easy. Save. Refresh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, when we started this video, we could not access those pages without going to the original location on the WordPress backend, clicking on one of the pages, clicking on the URL, clicking on the URL again. That's the only way we could see the page. Well, it's a little different now. Look at this. 1, 2, 3. And I know it looks like things aren't changing, but you can see things changing up here in the URL. That's page 4. That's page 5. They all look the same, and that's good because we want, after you come up with some consistent code to add to each of these pages, where all you're doing is just simply swapping out the image, things are going to look real nice. Okay, guys? All right. Man, that was a really quick and easy video, but really the purpose of this video is to clarify. And remember, before you get here, you've probably done some things. You have a very clear path on how to upload images and add images to the front page or to general theme modules. That's the first thing that's been clarified with 3.1. The second thing that was clarified is by simply creating pages on the WordPress backend area and within the theme area, and then facilitating that communication between, for example, a page and a right sidebar layout. Okay, so that was done in 3.2, video 3.2. This video is 4.1, okay? And in video 4.1, I am simply taking those confirmed pages that we know work just fine and adding them to the menu as sub items of work or portfolio. Okay, we're done here. Thank you, guys.